Hello and welcome to the Say Report.
Was that English?
I don't know what you know what it was. First of all, I also went 3-1-2 before I hit record.
Real professionals, people. This is what you get.
To be fair, that wasn't recorded. So no one heard me go 3-1-2. So now they have 3-1-2. That's how we count down at the Say Report, because we don't care about your conformity, man.
Oh, God. No.
I'm one of your host companions, Devin Decker, and joining me from the Revolution, undisclosed location.
That's right. I'm in a bunker somewhere. Actually, they're probably not too far from a bunker. This is Siege and Sarrowick. Hi, everybody. Yeah, man, what's going on over there in your bunker? You're saying it's a little warm under the collar,
Yeah,
huh?
it's a little warm under the collar. And here's the thing. It has been a warm week. Like, it has been a heat wave. Like, someone said, oh, you're looking for a heat wave. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. But no, it's been a heat wave. That person, I was unduly rude to them when they said we got a heat wave heading for us.
Was it the Old Farmer's Almanac? Was it Old Farmer Almanac himself?
Yeah, Old Farmer Almanac. We get together every Sunday for bocce. Bocce, there's a reference. No, it's
Would you like a pie recipe? Go along with your heat wave there, son.
If you eat shoe fly pie in the heat, you'll get nothing but flies.
Make sure to rub cow dung on that, you know.
Oh, God, Old Farmer Almanac. There's a new character for the Say Report. No, it's just, here's the crazy thing. Like, it's the kind of hot that you forget happens. Ooh. And I feel like a freaking idiot about that. Like, first of all, it doesn't feel like 6 months ago it was like the coldest it's ever been.
Oh, I see what you mean now. I was like instantly, like you just are like, where am I? What am I doing? No, I get what you're saying now. Yeah, like you forget like that. You forget those extreme days for sure. Yeah.
It's one of those things where like everybody's like, oh, can't wait till summer's here, and then like summer's here, and they're like, oh, it's too hot. There's like, you're the problem. You people are the problem. Like that's.
Well, if you didn't wish for summer, it would never happen.
I mean, no, I understand the scientific behind it. It's just like, that's the reason why, like, it's karma, it's karmic weather, and it's the worst. Like, this is why the Norse believed that there were gods of thunder and weather.
Yeah,
because they're like, we have offended Thor. That is why our chickens roast in the roost. Words.
Yeah, man. We need to be more respectful of the weather, everybody, because it is going to kill us one day.
If not the machines, then it will be the weather. Actually, it'll probably be the weather before the machines, let's be honest.
Well, oh man. Well, nuclear winter will come along and take it all out, so it'll be fine.
This is a depressing way to start an episode of the Say Report.
Well, you know, it's funny that you mentioned all of the machine stuff, because I've been playing with my Alexa lately, and it's really been eating up a lot of my time, more time than I thought it would, because it's not they can't do much. Did you know that?
That Alexas can't do much? First of all, I really liked our Byron Allen setup of that segue. Like, I had no idea that he was going to talk about Alexa. I did not cue him up for that with my words. That was all Siegen's amazing improvisation skills. So maybe we've been judging Byron Allen wrong this whole time. And it's actually the most natural thing in the world. No, Alexas can't do much. That's sort of why I don't have one, to be completely honest with you. I do have an Amazon Fire TV stick, because I'm sick and tired of streaming from my Blu-ray player, because it wasn't good. Like,
yeah,
I don't know if you know.
I've only dealt with one all-encompassing box in my life. I had a friend that was way into the idea when back when before the PS4 and the Xbox One came out, and there was all of that discussion about how when they came out with those systems, they wanted to create not just video game systems but entertainment systems, and it was that whole idea of everything being available in like one place. And it was like this huge like concept going around at the time that everybody wanted in on, and so Blu-ray players also got in on it, which got really weird. That like if I was going to buy a Blu-ray player, why not just buy a PS4 at that point? Because then at least it also played video games. But that's a whole other conversation. Although for a long time, the PS3 was the cheapest Blu-ray player you could buy, right? Wasn't that like one of the big sellers of it?
Seller of it.
Yeah,
was like,
yeah.
It's the cheapest Blu-ray player you can get. Let me tell you why you buy a streaming Blu-ray player. because Best Buy on Black Friday puts them on sale for $20.
Well, yes.
And you're like, I don't really need the streaming, but like a $20 Blu-ray player sounds pretty nice. Because unlike HD DVD, I was recently reminded of HD DVD. And we'll get back to you.
What did you like? Stumble and fall into like an FYE somewhere or something? Like, what did you do?
So yesterday, the day before we recorded, I went on a drive through Connecticut. Technically, I went on a ride through Connecticut. Like, big props to Dale. Dale did all of the driving yesterday. Usually on these like big, crazy Decker sibling road trips, I drive. But she's like, I'm driving today. It's my car. I'm driving. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fine. I'm a bad passenger. We'll loop back to that. But our destination for the trip was there's a game store that exists. I don't know. They exist in Connecticut in abundance. There are none anywhere else around here, but there's 7 of them in Connecticut. And like based on their website, there are some more West Coast, but like for some reason Connecticut is where they are. And they're called Game Exchange. I don't know if you've ever been to a Game Exchange.
Man, I have not been to them, but I've actually been kind of waiting for one to open up around me. I didn't realize there was one back home.
There's not one back home. The closest one to me is half an hour away in Norwich. And then there's like they make a lovely little loop around like the
Dude, if I want to take a piss, I got to go a half an hour on the Midwest. I don't know how to explain that to you.
No, but you say back home. It's not like there's not one in Rhode Island. Yeah. And the reason I say that is because when I first found this place, I was talking to the manager, and he's like, I'd really like to open one up in Rhode Island. Since you're from there, where would you recommend I put it?
Route 2.
And I'm like, yeah, Route 2 in Warwick. That's where you go. Make sure that you actually are near a light so it's easy enough to get into, because I've seen game stores open on Route 2 and close because it was impossible to get into them. RIP button mashers. And I'm like, but yeah, you put it in Warwick, you're close enough to all the colleges where you're going to get a bunch of people coming in, and like you'd be an alternative to these places that say they're game stores but aren't really. And he's like, yeah, that'd be cool. But then that never happened. Like, still waiting on that. Because I'd get a job there. Like, because it's like GameStop, but like no pressure. Let me talk. Yeah. Like, I love the place. Like, I don't understand it all. They're great though. So Dale went there on Thursday, the one in Norwich, and she's like, I called the one in Hamden, Connecticut, and they said that, you know, they have the item I want and they'll hold it. They're willing to hold it till Saturday. And I'm like, Hamden is not the closest one to Norwich. Hold on. And I brought up the list, and like, it makes a lovely little circle through all of Connecticut. So like, we're going to go to all of them because we have nothing to do this Saturday. And it was fun. It was a good time. I'm trying to, and one of the things that I found for the Wii, I did not buy it, and I'm kind of upset I did not buy it, is the Balls of Fury game.
Oh my god. The ping pong movie.
The ping pong movies tie-in Wii game.
Okay.
And right on the front of this package, and really first of all, it was $2. So like, I should have shelled out the $2. Let's all be honest.
Diedrich Bader and/or a dead panda.
It had 10 playable characters. So like, and I'm trying to think of characters in the movie. Dan, you got the Maggie Q, you got the bad guy.
Christopher Walken.
You got the
in a really
teacher.
Weird role.
I'm sure Terry Crews is a character. I don't think you could play as Diedrich Bader because he's a man whore. He's not a ping pong competitor.
He wasn't a player. You're right.
Like maybe there's a cheat code. And there's actually 11 available, and he swings around a dead panda. This panda's dead. But right on the front of the package, huge label, like this huge label, now available on DVD and HD DVD. And I'm just like, oh my god, remember HD DVD?
Yeah.
Remember that 2 weeks?
Oh my god. Right. Well, and everybody wanted you to get that, and that was Xbox went HD DVD while PS4 or PS3 went Blu-ray, right?
No, Xbox did not go HD DVD. Xbox went HD DVD drive that you needed to purchase.
Right. You needed to purchase a separate thing in order to use it, right?
And attach it via a cable. Like, no, nobody wants that. First of all, nobody wants it because it's HD DVD. Second of all, nobody wants a secondary disc drive for their Xbox 360.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Well, and so like I was saying, the idea of the all-encompassing entertainment box, like that just it never came to fruition. And I think part of that is because, like you were saying, with the Blu-ray player that was like connected to everything, the quality was never good. Like, because the problem is, like with everything, jack of all trades, master of none, right? Like, so it becomes this huge buy-in on a product that's only going to give you maybe half of the quality that you're looking for, maybe a little bit more than half, but still not all of the quality that you're looking for, right? I'm interested to hear how you feel about the Fire Stick, because from while I understand that the Cube that just came out is like hot shit and everybody's fucking in love with it, I've had 3 or 4 Fire Sticks filter through my life because Amazon hands those things out like candy at Christmas, and they're great for about 2 months, and then they feel like they become so outdated that it's like, how old is this technology? I have a Fire Stick that I swear is from 1995. like it's crazy how old they feel pretty quickly. They don't do a great job of keeping up on like updates and shit for them. So I'll be very interested to hear how you feel about that, which I think is part of why I'm having some issues with the Alexa right now, is actually because technically the Alexa I have is 2 generations back, I think.
well, that's your fault. That's your mistake to buy a 2-generation old Alexa. I bet you saved like a thin red cent. Like,
no, well, the key here is that I didn't actually buy these Echo Dots that ended up in my house. They were given as Christmas presents because, again, Amazon just gives shit out like candy at Christmas. So I think this year the deal was that if you bought $150 worth of stuff, you got a free Echo Dot, but it was like last generation's Echo Dot, and then this person happened to buy more than $150 worth, so they got like 4 or 5 Echo Dots like sent to them.
First of all, that is indicative of Amazon's opinion of these Echo Dots that they're giving away. Because most companies, you get one. Whether you spend $151 or $3,001, you're getting one free Echo Dot. The fact that Amazon's like every $150.
It's actually a huge thing, though, for Amazon to make sure that there ends up being an Echo Dot in every room in every house right now, because the big competition for them is Google, and Google is already in every device you have, right? And people have actually like been trying to figure out how Amazon can literally penetrate the house as well as Google can, because that's the only thing stopping them from basically overtaking Google in this whole AI race. So I'm actually not surprised that they were willing to give away as many as possible, because I think their dream is that eventually your house is just wired to Alexa, and it'll get there. And like I said, from what I understand, the latest Fire TV Cube, which actually has Alexa built into it, is like apparently just fucking amazing. So I got to get my hands on one of these things before they get out of date. But the ones that we have were a generation back when they were purchased, and then since then have gone, another generation has come out. So we are 2 generations past that one. So she's interesting. She's like she can definitely do a lot. But first of all, being an Echo Dot and not just an Echo, there's already a limited vocabulary and all that sort of stuff. The speakers are not like high quality, right? But there's things that she'll do 1 minute that when I ask her to do the next minute, she's like, I can't do that for you, Dave. And I'm like, but you just did it. So like the other day I was at 4th of July, and I decided I wanted to have some good background music, and I had been for 2 days listening to a yacht rock station on my Spotify through Alexa, and simple phrase, hey Alexa, put on my yacht rock playlist on Spotify. Did it 1,000 times, no problem. I could not, the entirety of the 4th of July, get her to find that stupid playlist. I had to go looking for it myself and put it on. I don't know why she suddenly forgot how to do it, but like she was just like, no more of this. Maybe she got sick of all of the Hall & Oates. I don't know.
First of all, Hall & Oates is not yacht rock. I'm gonna be that guy. That guy.
It
is the Philly soul. It is Philly soul. They were in Philadelphia. They were not in Southern California. Daryl Hall, despite his flowing locks, never owned a yacht. And John Oates probably did, but who wants to hang out with John Oates? You're my hero,
You're gonna start
John
putting
Oates.
such extreme qualifiers on what constitutes
a
genre of music.
I'm not
You're
the
gonna
one.
have some real issues filling out that now. That's what I call yacht rock. That's all I'm saying.
Dude, I'm just gonna be honest with you. That's the problem, though. Here's the thing. Like yacht rock music, I'm okay with all of it. Like the reason that like yacht rock appeals to me, I love Hall & Oates. I found I can't go for that in college, and Hall & Oates became my fucking band. And then like the rest of the world caught up right as I graduated, and I'm like, you're no longer my special band, Hall & Oates. I'm sad. Sorry, that was like a real retrospective. But it's one of those things where like the guys who came up with the God, I'm telling yacht rock stories now, and I'm doing it. I don't give a shit. The guys who came up with it, there's a 12-part like mini show. It's called Before Yacht Rock or something like that. It might just be Yacht Rock. I don't know. Yeah, it's just called Yacht Rock. Just type it in Google, and it's 4 guys who did this show called Yacht Rock, and it's sort of like behind the music, but like for popular yacht rock songs. The best episodes, without question, are episode number 4. Like, go watch episode 4 right now, and episode number 11. Those are the 2 that like. And episode 10. Sorry. If you're gonna fill it out, episode 4. I can't remember what episode 4 is about. I just know that it's my favorite one, and I'm pretty sure it's because what's his name is there, Steve Perry.
Yeah.
No. I think Steve Perry isn't that one, but it's Toto writing Rosanna. The episode where Toto writes Rosanna is excellent. That one is fantastic. The 10th episode is Steely Dan versus the Eagles, which is also excellent. And then the 11th episode is Kenny Loggins writing Footloose. And Jimmy Buffett is the main antagonist in that. Oh,
yes. That's beautiful.
And Jason Lee plays Kevin Bacon. Do you want a MLT? That's like a real line. So those guys, those 4 guys who did the show Yacht Rock, which I enjoy, like I enjoy the show. We'll get to the reason why like there's a darkness to this story at the end. They said that they're the first people who ever used the term yacht rock, and because they created the genre, they get to define it. And they're fucking music geeks who have all these stipulations and shit about what is and what isn't yacht rock. Like, they're the ones who like, Brandy is not yacht rock. No, to be fair, Brandy isn't really yacht rock. It's just about the water. Like, it doesn't sound... Like, if you're listening to a yacht rock playlist and you got, like, Player going and then some Steely Dan, a little bit of frickin' Michael McDonald, and then Brandy comes on, you're like, all right, it's similar, but it's not yacht rock. like if Sesame Street came up and was like, one of these songs is not like the other, you'd be like, is Brandy, you're a fine girl. Like, without question. And not just because it's the one that played that summoned you, Sesame Street. Other reasons.
What? God damn it. So where's the darkness?
So the darkness comes from those guys who did that web series, had a podcast called Beyond Yacht Rock. They still have a podcast called Beyond Yacht Rock. And what it is they do, they create more arbitrary genres. So, like, it was an interesting idea, and I was cued into this by the spin-off show of Doug Loves Movies that had 7 episodes and then just slowly faded away, called Julian Loves Music, when he did a crossover episode with the Beyond Yacht Rock podcast.
Okay.
And so they do arbitrary genres like wrap-ups, which is movie credit songs that are raps that also give a brief synopsis of the film.
Oh my God! Yes.
So
yes.
like this is really fun. Like, there was a fun show to listen to, and they have a huge social media presence. So like, I started dinking around with them on social media because that's sort of what you did with podcasts. Right. At least that's sort of that's what podcasts are kind of for. Is like this way that like you can have direct talk back with the people you're listening to every week, and they said a question about a song, and I answered the question, and then they called me out as an idiot because my answer was wrong on the show. And I'm like, yeah, so I'm not going to listen to your show anymore. Like, it's bad enough that you guys are like these ball-busting music snobs who think that your opinion is the only one that matters, which really is any music snob, I'm going to be honest with you.
Yep.
But it's like, you just like insulted me as a fan, like as a person who listens to your show and gives you my time.
So in order, fuck those dudes. Secondly, you probably weren't wrong. Thirdly,
oh, I definitely wasn't wrong. I definitely wasn't wrong.
Yeah, yeah. That's usually what happens in those cases, is usually people get called out for quote unquote being wrong when actually the person is just not even paying attention to what was said in the first place. And thirdly, what I will say about this whole idea is that you don't get to just own it. That sentiment that because you came up with the term means that you get to define it for all of history is actually never been true. Like 110% of the time, that's never true. People come up with a concept and then humanity runs with it, especially nowadays in the days of the internet, in the good old interwebs, taking shit and running with it. So like you can put as many rules and stipulations you want on your quote unquote fake genre, although I will argue that now we've frindled the shit out of this and it's now a real thing, so like calm the fuck down. But
Wait,
people are going to put
reference. Like
people
thank you.
Yeah, people are going to do what they want with this shit, and thank you, Devin. But people are going to do what they want with this shit now, and suffice to say, you listen to a Yacht Rock playlist. I will bet you my farm that there will be Hall & Oates on that playlist.
Well, here's my father's argument about this, because like I was listening to that Beyond Yacht Rock podcast a year ago, and a year ago we went away for my father's birthday. We went up to Maine, and we had just gotten the new Jeep. Which, stupid thing about XM satellite radio systems, like for real, they have like stations up to 1,000, like are assigned, but like radios will only go up to 200. Like your radio can't tune past 200. Like, do you remember old TVs where you'd have like 64 channels and that would be it?
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
like it evolved to have 100, and then like 125 was the weird stoppage for some reason.
Right.
Like so that's the same thing with satellite radio, but then they program these upper ones. So Yacht Rock is an XM radio station, and it is 311 is Yacht Rock. So in my parents' old car, their gold car that is now Dale's, it only went to 200, so we could never listen to Yacht Rock unless it was spotlit on the Spotlight channel. And whenever it was, we'd put it on because it's so hard. Like, it's one of those things where whenever we put on the Yacht Rock channel, it's like, we're only doing this until a bad song comes on. And then, like, 12 hours later. And it's like, it hasn't been bad music. Like, this is, it's soft. We know every song. It's, how could you hate any of this?
Right.
But then they got their Jeep, which has it because it's on 311. So we tuned to 311. So that whole trip up in Maine, we listened to Yacht Rock radio. And my father one day is like, I don't get it. I don't get what Yacht Rock is. And it's like, dude, you have a tablet in your hand. Google it. Google it right now. And like, cause I'm done. I've explained it to you several times. Just type in Yacht Rock into your Google on your tablet, and it will give you the definition of Yacht Rock. And what it came up with was the top 6 Yacht Rock songs. Now, you know, it's their thing, and they defined it. The Yacht Rock guys say that the 3 pillars of Yacht Rock, and I'd love to hear your opinion on this, Sejan, because why not talk about Yacht Rock, are the Doobie Brothers, Steely Dan, and, oh shit, what's the last one? Oh, Loggins, Kenny Loggins.
I mean, like, that... It sounds like Yacht Rock to me, man, from what I know about it. I mean, remember, I was only introduced to this myself like mere months ago. So like, but yeah, no.
That's a solid foundation for the stool of Yacht Rock. Like the stool you sit on, not the other kind. But so he finds this top 6 list, and on that top 6 list is Brandy, You're a Fine Girl and I Can't Go For That by Hall & Oates. And I'm like, arguably those aren't Yacht Rock songs, but I kind of get it because it's like grown and evolved. And he's like, no, they're on the list, so they're definitely Yacht Rock. And I'm like, that's true, right? I told you to Google it. You went to the internet because I was tired of explaining it to you. You're right. If a person hears the term Yacht Rock and looks it up, they're going to find that list and they're going to agree.
We all have to deal with the fact that Hall & Oates is Yacht Rock, much like we have to deal with the fact that at the end of the day, Phil Collins really is technically a rock star.
Toto was actually the third. It's Steely Dan, Doobie Brothers, once Michael McDonald joined, and Toto.
Okay,
Kenny Loggins is not one of the pillars. Because Toto
makes a little bit more sense.
The members of Toto, right? They were like the fucking session musicians on almost everything.
Yes, there were some. What it seems like to me is yacht rock is basically just like chill pop, right? Like clearly it's more than that. I like, but without getting too deep into it. So like Toto fits perfectly into that, right? And so
it's
yeah,
super
no,
incestuous. That's how I define yacht rock. It's like a group of dudes who like loved doing cocaine, and we're like, dude, I need some coke, and they're like, hey, do a background vocal on my song, and you can have this 8-ball.
Why don't we all just share this 8-ball and make 3 different albums together? Yeah,
That's
okay.
good too, but like I just need some coke right now. Fine, Michael McDonald. Chris Cross has got a new song. You just need to say "Such a long way to go," and you can have this coke.
But yeah, so I spent my 4th of July arguing with a machine about yacht rock, and now I feel much like I'm doing almost the same thing.
Oh God, fuck you! I'm not a robot. They had me tested.
Look, I'm talking into a microphone. I'm hearing you over my headphones. This is pretty much like it is talking to my Alexa. I'm gonna be.
That's frightening. God, I don't know. Yeah. So to go back to what were we? Oh, so to go back to streaming Blu-ray players, they're really good as Blu-ray players. They don't update, which is like what you said the issue was with like Fire Sticks for you.
Right.
Like it says that there's an update available for my streaming Blu-ray player. Both of them. I have 2 in the house, and I bought them as Blu-ray players, not for the streaming capability. But the fact that they had streaming, I'm like, that's not bad, right? Like it puts streaming on these TVs. And then like I go to stream and it's like an update is available for this device. So I go to update and then it's like update failed. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like I don't know what to do with you.
I
just want to watch Hulu.
I will say that one area where people are getting this right though is internet ready TVs. I have come across a few of those in my time that I have been super jealous of. They've been really, really well done. So I don't know what it is. I don't know why we can figure out this shit and get it into a TV, which I think we've always been able to do, right? Like we've always been able to do those. Like, hey, this TV also now plays tapes. This TV also now plays DVDs, right? Like, we've always been able to do that pretty well. I don't understand why we can't get an all-in-one set-top box that can also play my PlayStation games and be, like, pretty high quality.
Well, you kind of can. I mean, like, the PlayStation 4 does all that.
It does not connect to Amazon in any way.
Yes, it does.
No, that's not true. They've got the new Amazon Prime. I'm thinking of my Chrome. I've got too many fucking devices. I'm thinking of my Chromecast is the one that there's no way to put Amazon on it because even if you cast your screen, it blacks out anything from Amazon.
Okay, and that's just like here's the issue. Like we started this with the discussion of Amazon's trying to penetrate your house because Google is already there. Mm-hmm. The issue is, and like please don't kill me, Jeff Bezos, but like Amazon, the quality of Amazon products is not good. Like that kills me to say that. No, it doesn't. It's the truest fucking thing I've ever said on this show. Because like I got a Kindle when I was working for Carnival. I got a Kindle before I left the first time, and I'm like, this is going to be good, right? Like, because I don't want to carry books with me. Books are fucking heavy, but all you do in your downtime is read. So if I have a Kindle, it'll be good. And I returned it before I left because I'm like, you are not worth it, Kindle.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry. Like, I thought you would be awesome for what you are, but you're really not worth it. Your quality is not good. I mean, you're fine to read. Like, their whole, like, digital ink thing is actually really impressive. But, like, for the cost, I'm like, you're not worth it. And then, like, I came back from that first tour. I was getting ready for my second contract. I shouldn't use the word tour. They're contracts. I got ready for my second contract, and I'm like, I'm going to get a Kindle, right? Like, I saw people with them on board, and it really seems like it will be a worthwhile purchase because, to be honest, I would go every Saturday. I'd go into Books A Million, and I would buy a book. So, like, when it came time to leave, I had like I had to buy another backpack just for all of my books. Because, like, a lot of people just leave their books and, like, no, books are my family. Like, I don't see, like, it's one of those things. They talk a lot about how Americans don't read for fun anymore, and we don't. Like, even I, a reader, have, like, really cut back on my reading, which isn't 100% true because I, like, read stuff online, but, like, actual physical books.
Yeah.
But, like, books are something that I absolutely love.
Well, I wonder if that's where it all went. I wonder if our fun reading went to stuff like the internet, you know?
Well, so that I would like to pose a question to you regarding that. I was talking to a friend's wife, I want to say 2 months ago, but I forgot it's July, so it may actually have been 3, about dyslexia and like reading like disabilities in the modern world.
Yeah, yeah.
So the question is, like before, it was kind of easy to hide that you were illiterate or something like that. But in our world, where like using the computer is such a big part of education and like just fun time, do you think that it's easier to diagnose it and thus catch it when you're younger, or do you think that like the levels are still pretty high in America?
I'm willing to bet the levels are still pretty high.
Yeah,
I don't
that
know.
was my
Like,
argument too.
yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I like reading comprehension in general. Like with computer, you would think that we're doing more reading now than we ever have been in our lives, right? But you know, a lot of the stuff that we're looking at and reading now is not written well, not written. There's a lot less there's a lot less checks and balances on the material getting in front of kids' faces and things like that. You know what I mean? So like it's hard to say one way or the other about what, but it definitely needs to be reconsidered, because a lot of the stuff that we understand about reading and understand and comprehension and the way that kids take information in and whether or not they're having issues doing that is all based on stuff from 50, 60 years ago.
You're not wrong about that. It's just one of those things where like, because it was an interesting query when she presented it to me, because it's like, yeah, because for fun now, kids basically go on the internet, right? Like kids don't play outside anymore. I mean, I'm sure they do. I'm sure I'm just being an old man when I say that, but you know, I feel like they don't. And even those kids that do go outside, they don't have that same level of freedom that we had. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, yeah. I get that. I mean, like, you know, I also, without getting too deep into like old man territory, I things are definitely different, but part of that is also rose tinted glasses. I mean, for as much as we talk about how kids don't go outside much anymore, I'll be honest. When I was a kid, you know what I did a lot of? Staying inside and watching movies. You know, like maybe now kids go online and play, you know, Candy Crush or something, but I sure as hell wasn't out there every day myself either. I don't know, but it does. I get where you're going though.
Well, it's where she was going. I mean, because my final thing was, yeah, but like YouTube exists, so like you don't have to read the internet. We read the internet because we're readers.
Right.
Like kids can go online and they can find entertainment that doesn't challenge the reading portion of their brain.
Right.
But yeah, so to go back to the initial point, I just feel like Amazon creates this cheap technology so that they can sell it to you, you'll buy it, and when it breaks, you're just willing to shell out another one. I mean, they did that whole study that like Amazon Prime, people consider it like a utility. Like they don't even consider the fact that they pay for it.
Right.
Because
they just lump it in with the water and gas bill.
Yeah, because you pay it one time. And like all the stuff you get, like if I were to cancel Prime, they're not wrong about that. Like if I were to get rid of Prime, and it's something that I'm really considering, since one of the main reasons that I got Amazon Prime was the video game deals, and they are constantly carving away what that means. Like re-releases and remasters no longer get the 20% off.
That's a ridiculous stipulation. It's still a video game. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, like, and I don't know. And usually they're cheaper, right? So
what about remakes? Is Resident Evil 2 going to?
I'm guessing no.
Qualify, because they keep going back and forth. Like the world can't decide what that counts as. Never mind what Amazon's going to decide.
Exactly. Like it's one of those crazy things. So I don't know, like the fact that game clubs are going away, and I mean I understand why they're going away, because Amazon and Best Buy set up game clubs in order to compete with GameStop, and GameStop is pretty much going to be dead by 2019.
Yeah,
like the fact that they're like trying to get bought, like they're like, come on, someone buy us.
Yeah, hey,
that's not how you do that.
In these? There's like that guy in a back alley with like a trench coat on now, and they're just like, hey, you want to buy a GameStop?
Yeah. I mean, it's that kid who's like, will you give me money to eat something gross?
Oh, God.
Like, that's what GameStop is. Like that, like no one's gonna be like. I mean, people are gonna give you money, but like you can't be like, buy us. We're in financial ruin. Yeah, because you're an outdated system, GameStop. I apologize.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's so that whole thing. So Amazon, like they make this technology that like you can get a Fire for, I think, like not like the Fire tablet. It's like $30-$40.
Yeah.
And it's because on the lock screen you have adverts. And then like they're not super fast either.
But I think that part of the thinking has to be software versus hardware. The idea being that we'll just get the hardware in everybody's hands and then we'll make money on the software side of things. Because now that I have all these Amazon devices, going to Amazon to buy a CD, a movie, anything, like, is the easiest thing in the world. Or like you're saying with the Prime side of things, yeah, okay, the technology's kind of cheap, but I've already spent all the money on Prime for the year, so I've got that. So why not just invest $20 into a Fire Stick and then I can access all of that stuff that I supposedly have access to, right? Like,
I mean, the reason why I got a Fire Stick is I finally broke down and bought the McCarthys. I love that show. And like I wanted to buy it for so long, but I wanted to get it on DVD. But the DVD was $30. But I could get the whole season for $10 from Amazon or Apple. And I'm like, I'm going to get it from Amazon, though, because I don't want to do it. I'm mad at Apple right now. I don't know if I talked about that on the podcast. But I'm mad at Apple because I bought the soundtrack to Popstar Never Stop, Never Stopping. Love that fucking movie.
Fantastic soundtrack.
Great soundtrack. They eliminated all of the songs from the soundtrack that were not in the movie. Like, they included a bunch of bonus tracks and dialogue to make it a 34-track soundtrack that I paid, like, what that was worth. And then I mentioned to Dale, I'm like, oh, I'd really like to hear I'm a Weirdo. And she's like, what is I'm a Weirdo? And I'm like, it's one of those bonus tracks, like, at the end, after all the stuff plays. And she's like, no, there are no bonus tracks. What are you talking about? I listen to this soundtrack every day. And I went on her phone, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. You don't have it downloaded. Let me go. And I go over to it, and it says that I bought the track. It says that I'm a Weirdo as part of it. There's no ability to download. It doesn't say album only or anything like that. It's just like, yeah, this used to be a track, but now you don't have access to it.
Ugh,
hopefully
gross.
You downloaded this to a hard drive. Yeah, which I did. So I still have access to those songs because I downloaded them to a hard drive and backed them up.
Yeah,
but the fact that like on the go I can't access something that I already paid for.
Yeah, like that sucks.
And yesterday I was trying to listen to the Ghostbusters 2 soundtrack. This is why it's like reignited in me. We went to IHOP for breakfast yesterday, which is so funny going into IHOP because they did that whole IHOB thing. and we walk in and Dale's
everybody
like,
lost their fucking minds.
This isn't real. Like IHOP, that's not real. Look at literally all the signage they would have to change in this one restaurant to make it actually IHOP. People are idiots.
Yeah, it was pretty obvious it wasn't real from the get-go.
From the get-go. Like it's clearly just marketing. Like, don't get upset about this.
Oh man.
But so we walk in there and they sit us down, and I don't know what it was about the table, but like my rib cage rested right on it in the booth, and I'm like, I am uncomfortable. Like I don't like that my ribs are touching the table. Like it was just the height of the table was weird.
What is this? A table for ants?
No, it's like I guess so. It's probably a table. It's a table for fucking NBA stars. Is what it is. It's not built for the short man. This table does not accommodate the short man. So I asked our waitress, I'm like, can we go to a table? Actually, Dale asked our waitress if we could be moved to a table. Because apparently I do that. Dale is on Say Report Jr., and I have to address it because I made her listen to last week's episode because I'm like, it's fucking crazy. Like, we just went nuts last week. I need you to listen to it. And she came back and she's like, don't make yourself me in stories. If I do an action, give me the credit that I deserve. So I'm fixing that. Escape Plan 2 at Walmart. She is the one who asked the girl if it was there. It was not me. So I'll fix that. And yesterday at IHOP, she is the one who asked the waitress. And just because she's the one who asked first, like I was fully prepared to, if we could be moved to a different table instead of the booth.
Excuse me, but my tiny brother can't reach the floor from this. Can we sit somewhere else, please?
Yes, right? Yeah, and that's why, Dale, in case you listen to this episode, is because Sejan will mock me incessantly if it looks like you have to deal with the things I can't deal with.
I know full well that she has to deal with the things that you can't.
You're a jerk. You're a friggin' jerk. So they move us. The IHOP we go to, it's the one in Attleboro. Literally, it's my happiest place on earth. I love going there. But they have this weird back room that like is through a door and like feels like you're disconnected from the restaurant. And the restaurant is relatively empty at this point. I will say that. It's
so they put you in like
Saturday.
the party room.
So they put us in the party room alone. So I'm like, well, if we're alone in this room, we have to listen to On Our Own by Bobby Brown. And I'm like, I own that. I bought the Ghostbusters 2 soundtrack on iTunes. So let's play it. So I hit play on that, and it does not start. It jumps to the next song, which also does not start. Jumps to the next song, doesn't start. Jumps to the fourth song on the album. Sejan, what do you think happened?
I'm gonna say that it just didn't play until it got to this Ghostbusters theme, which is probably the only thing they're still paying to store.
Nope, Spirit. It got to the fifth song, Spirit by Dougie Fresh, and I'm like, what the hell? I paid for these songs. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's
so I went and I'm like, so maybe it's just like a bad internet connection. Nope, jumped on YouTube, listened to On Our Own by Bobby Brown. Too hot to handle, too cold to hold. You call the Ghostbusters, now they're in control. Talk about wrap-ups.
I mean, like, but this is the nightmare scenario, right? Like, this is what people have always talked about: the idea that you give this company money for this product, and then it's just not available to you. Like, this is the shittiest possible way that this could go down.
You need to understand how upset I actually was when we tried to listen to like bonus tracks that I love from the Popstar soundtrack and they weren't available. I'm like, this was always theorized, but I never thought it would actually happen because people were so afraid of it. And then nope, we got screwed. We still got screwed by Apple. I said on my iMac Mini.
Yeah. Yep. That's how this shit works, man. The machines, they've gotten into every aspect of your life, and you start complaining, and then you realize you're just complaining to another machine, man.
Oh, God. But yeah, so
you
that's
can call into Apple, but I bet you it'd be fucking automated.
Jesus. But yeah, so I bought the McCarthy's on Amazon. Long story. And then because I had the McCarthy's, I'm like, I guess I'm going to get an Amazon Fire Stick so I can watch this on my TV. And that's why I have it. And currently, I have no problem with it. A friend of mine, the friend whose wife posed the question, gave me his old Roku, and that thing moved like friggin' molasses.
Yeah.
Like, there's a thing, like, the fact of the matter is, streaming technology is getting better. If you're on an old device, there have been leaps and bounds. I don't know why I'm being like the guy who's arguing for streaming rights. So I picked up the Fire Stick, because I did my research, and it's like, you can get an Apple TV, or you can get an Amazon Fire Stick. They're basically the same thing, but one is $200, and you can stream iTunes things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm mad at iTunes right now. Come on, $40 guy, let's come home with me.
That's how some of the best relationships start. I will say that I think that really part of my issue with some of the Amazon stuff is not that their stuff outdates quickly. That's just the world, right? Like things are just moving so fast right now with the streaming technology stuff that it just feels so outdated, when the truth is, I mean, it's still fucking amazing, right? Like I could still sit in my kitchen and put on like Major League Baseball on my TV, and yeah, okay, it's taking 5 minutes to load instead of like the 30 seconds I want it to, but at the end of it, I'm still going to get a live baseball game coming to me over the internet. So like I can't get too upset about that shit.
My parents were in Cuba, which we should totally take the Say Report to Cuba. I'm going to be completely honest with you. We need to finish what we started with Film 315 and actually go to Cuba.
Yeah.
And record an episode of the Say Report. I'm just being honest with you. Conan O'Brien did it, but like Malabana, Soy Cuba, that weird post office movie.
Oh man, that weird post office movie.
Dear God,
Um,
but Cuban, which like you.
what was the Andy Garcia one?
Oh, I own that one. I own that movie.
Life is a Dream or something?
No,
Or
not Life is a Dream. The city of Lost City, Lost
City of
Paradise, I think is what
Oh
it's called.
God, with like Bill Murray as like the comedian with no name. Like
Yeah,
such
like
a
that movie's crazy. I
that movie
definitely
just
own a
goes black
copy
and
of it.
white for 5 minutes and
Yeah,
just decides to go black and white. Yeah.
yeah, one of those like we that was a weird class that we took,
Hmm.
especially because they ran it as a film class and a foreign language class.
Oof, remember
So
that first day we showed up and everybody was speaking Spanish around us, and we all looked at each other like, "What the fuck is going on in this classroom?"
to be fair, I was like, I mean, I understand what they're saying, but like, I didn't want to take a class in Spanish.
I am
The
not
best
here.
part was though was that like there was that one girl who signed up for it from that side, but everybody else signed up from it as a film class. Like so it was and the professor was not prepared for that in any way, shape, or
No,
form.
no, she got screwed. I did not envy that person.
No,
She was just like, "What do you mean none of you have taken Spanish before?" And we were all just like, "That's not why we're here."
this is a joint class, and she's like, I did not know this, and I'm like, that's cool. And she's like, a lot of the movies we're gonna watch are just in the language, and I'm like, that's awesome. I don't care.
I don't have a problem with that part. My problem is that she was like, "You're going to write an essay in
In
Spanish
Spanish,
every
and I'm like,
week," and
yeah,
I'm
I'm
just
not
like,
doing that. That's
"That's
not
I
gonna
don't, I
happen.
can't."
I'm getting a D in this class, but I'm excited to watch a bunch of Cuban movies. But like, but my parents were in Cuba last week, and they had a good time. They just got back. They loved the trip, and the whole time they were gone, I don't think I watched anything over the air. I watched everything on the Fire Stick, and it's just like I understand cord cutters now. It gave me
Hmm.
greater insight into you because it's like, why would I pay for cable when like Hulu, I get to build my own network basically.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I mean the worst part is when you come across that one thing that's just not available to you. I mean like that's the only real problem. But the truth is that you come across that with cable anyway because like unless you're paying for HBO and Showtime, unless you're paying for specific packages that have access to things like Disney XD and things like BBC America is not available with every cable package. So like you even come across that shit with cable. So like really the only knock I have against some of this like cord cutting stuff is that I don't have access to everything, but then I remember that I never did. Like so really if that's my biggest issue, then I'm going to keep doing what I've been doing.
Yeah, I mean, we started doing Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And the reason why I never watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine is because our DVR can only tape two shows at the same time,
Hmm.
and three shows were on when Brooklyn Nine-Nine was on. So like that's the only reason why. Because
Yeah.
like as we've watched through the first season, I'm like, I saw this episode. How did I see this episode? I didn't think I watched any of this show. But it's like, oh, because there were those times where like it was on. Like I would just watch it.
Yeah,
But I
yeah, yeah.
never taped it. I was never like crazy religious about it like I was with other shows. But like I've seen this. I like this show. I like Brooklyn
Yeah.
Nine-Nine. I'm not gonna lie.
This might be kind of controversial, but I kind of love this show that everybody heartwarmingly loves so much that NBC picked it up after it got canceled.
Fuck you, man. I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest with you. So that brings me to the last thing I want to talk about, and this is the perfect time to bring it up. Siege and Sarawak,
Yo.
do you know who Encyclopedia Brown is?
Yeah, fuck yeah, I know who Encyclopedia Brown is. I had all damn books. I loved Encyclopedia Brown
I
books.
just needed to check because I was
I didn't do Nancy Drew. I didn't do Hardy Boys. I did Encyclopedia Brown. Like that was that and Boxcar Kids, but that's a whole other thing.
Oh God, I love the Boxcar Children.
But yeah, no man, I loved Encyclopedia Brown mysteries. Like um I used to legitimately like try and figure out like the mystery before you had to like flip the book over and read the answer or whatever style it was.
Dude,
Like
the coolest style, the thing about I really liked about Encyclopedia Brown books is that they were all in the back.
in the
Like
back.
it's turned
That's
to
right.
this page to
Right,
read
right.
the remainder. So like it wasn't on the page. Like I always hated that as a kid because like
Yeah.
first of all, upside down reading not hard. It's not hard. So you just put the answer on the bottom. I'm like, well, there's the answer.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, it's like when you're doing crosswords or something, and it's a kid's crossword, so the answers are all just basically right there, and you're just like, this is not the whole point of a puzzle is to never mind. Maybe the puzzle was to remember to turn the book upside down so you could read it.
A kid's crossword puzzle, and it's like clue number 1, bacon. Oh, it's bacon. That's the answer.
I think it's bacon.
You just want me to fill out this word.
So what were you doing with Encyclopedia Brown?
So
are you opening a detective agency?
I would if I were opening a detective agency, you could definitely be my Sally Kimball. Let's be honest. No, I made a reference to Encyclopedia Brown, and it fell on deaf ears. And like I went deep with the reference. I committed to it. Like I made a joke about I referenced an REO Speedwagon song, and the person's like, I'm gonna guess that's an REO Speedwagon song title because we were talking about REO Speedwagon.
Context clues always important.
So yep, I go,
good for humor.
Oh, way to solve that one, Encyclopedia Brown, and just like stone face, like, and I'm like, are you upset that I called you Encyclopedia Brown? Like instead of like no shit Sherlocking you? Like is the face because you're upset that I did that? So like I doubled it down. I'm like, what do I owe you a dime?
Oh God.
And like the face did not change, and I'm like, oh, should we like be worried about Bugs Meany taking that dime from you? And like 3 strikes out, I'm like, you don't know who Encyclopedia Brown is, do you? And I'm like, oh my God. So then like I asked Dale, and she's like, yeah, those books you used to read, I don't know anything about them. And I'm like, okay, but at least you know it. And then I asked Will, and he's like, I have no idea. And I'm like, all right, that's fair.
Well,
that might not cross over. You guys actually have Sherlock Holmes in England.
Yeah, right, exactly. Why?
So you don't need Encyclopedia Brown kids stories. They were fun though. They were like really just fun things. They had that weird TV show too, which I don't know if it was just like a pilot that they showed as a special, or if it actually ever became a show.
I don't know. I think they should definitely do an Encyclopedia Brown show now, though. I think this is the perfect time for it. Like a good like Nickelodeon pickup, you know? Like
I'd do Netflix. Like just do it as Netflix.
Oh, and then well, if you want to do it well, Netflix or even Amazon would probably like take that shit and run with it. But I mean, if you want it to be something that like we get 5 seasons of and a bunch of stupid toys and straight to DVD movies, like I want Nickelodeon to have that all the way.
Are we talking live action or animated?
Live action.
Oh, I'd love it to be because like that special was live action. And like, dude, I'm pretty sure the girl who played young Bonnie Hunt in Jumanji played Sally Kimball in it.
Oh man, that's a hell of a pull.
And they also did they did that thing that I really like when they adapt kids' books, where they take the bully and make him part of the crew. So like Bugs Meany, they have that whole antagonist episode, and then like it comes together and they're all working together, and I'm like, I'm okay with this. I'm finally okay with this.
Yeah, the big like lovable oaf character is a pretty stock standard for kids shows, so like they always tend to pull that character, that bully character in because there's at least established fiction there for it, that sort of thing. Yeah.
So man. Yeah, so like
I would want him to be more of like a red herring character, but
yeah, no, I'd want him to be an antagonist. I wouldn't want him working for it. I'm talking about the one that exists.
Right.
That like so they made him part of the team, and it's just like that's weird. I liked him as a red, like, because in the books there are times where he kind of like he'll hire Encyclopedia Brown, but it's usually to get one over on him.
Right. Oh damn it, Encyclopedia Brown! You've done it again. He needs a good saying. What would his good saying be?
I don't know. I don't know.
I stepped in it again, Brown.
No, I don't know. But that's just because I think about like the one that always stuck with me because it was in the book and it was in the show was the saber from World War I. Yeah. And the way that Encyclopedia Brown knew it was fake is the engraving said, I give you this saber in commemoration of this First World War. And it's like, how would they know there's going to be a second one, Bugs Meany?
Mine, the one I always remember is the rock through the window, but all the glass was on the outside. And so he's like, well, clearly this rock didn't get thrown into this house. Somebody put it back in after the window was broken. And so like, there's that's the one that I always go back to because I also think that quote unquote mystery was also in the Clue Junior game and pretty sure like a Sly Fox panel once. Like the broken window with the glass on the wrong side is a pretty stock standard kids mystery.
It's like pretty, like it's, you know what that is for? That's so that kids know how to not get in trouble. It's like
I was going to say to teach them basic logic, but yeah okay.
Well, it's like one of those things where it's like if you break a window, don't like put a rock inside. Like your parents are not dumb. Learn from this how to be a bastard. And no, so the last Encyclopedia Brown one that always sticks with me, and then I have one other thing I want to bring up, is the one where the girl's like, I've been driving around all day, and he's holding his son, and he puts his son on the hood of the car, and Encyclopedia Brown's like, bullshit, you've been driving around all day. That engine would be hot, and your baby would be crying. I want new Encyclopedia Brown to be fucking edgy. Yeah. Like that's the thing. That's why I don't want to Brown. No, I don't want to do Coke Bugs, Meanie. But like, I want him to be like, fuck you, you're an idiot. How'd they know there's gonna be a second world war? You douchebag.
Just shitty, just like typing into his phone all the time. I think that's what they did to Sherlock, though. Basically, you're Sherlocking him.
I am kind of Sherlocking Encyclopedia Brown, aren't I? But it's time. This is he's the hero that the world needs now. And the last thing, now that we're talking about it, I was watching an episode of Braceface. Remember Braceface?
Hells yeah, the Alicia Silverstone show, right?
Alicia Silverstone. She decided to become a vegetarian because she was working at a meat packing plant. There's too many jokes. There's just too many jokes. And her braces were picking up the slaughterhouse walkie-talkies.
Oh God, so this sounds like a nightmare.
Oh, I'm just like, oh God. So she goes over to
cows dying all the time.
Yeah. So she's like, I'm gonna be a vegetarian. And the thing about that is like, and it really like hit me. I'm like, this is how we treated it in almost every show. Like everybody, like, are you sure you want to be a vegetarian? You don't think that's a crazy decision? It's like being a vegetarian in TV shows of the 90s and early 2000s was a weird analog for being a homosexual.
So like coming out as a vegetarian was always like the coming out episode was always like an after school special.
Like, yeah. I'm gonna be a vegetarian. Oh, as if you weren't weird enough already. Like what? There are hundreds of vegetarians all over the planet.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, and like the worst example of this is the way that Lisa Simpson gets treated because she has like straight up 4 or 5 episodes that have to do with this. Like, it constantly comes up, including one with like Richard Gere where she like goes on like this like journey to find herself.
That's the Buddhist episode. That's a Christmas episode where Lisa becomes a Buddhist.
Yeah, okay.
Which is
so it evolves into this like religious thing then.
Yeah,
because
But like the first episode, Lisa the vegetarian, same reason. They go to a slaughterhouse, which is like perfect field trip for kids. Is slaughterhouse, and she's like, yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna be a vegetarian. Like I don't like the way that animals are treated, and you know what? That's the reason why you should go to a slaughterhouse as a field trip, so that kids can see how the sausage is made and determine if that's something that they still want to do.
And the answer is I do. Yeah, man. Like, but I mean, I think that there's foodies all over the globe that would be huge proponents of this idea. Like, you know, learn where your food comes from, kids. Like, and the sooner that they learn, the easier it is to talk to them about why they should and shouldn't be eating certain things. Because it's really hard to tell a kid, no, you can't have that. And then when they ask why 1,000 times, you just get to a point where they just don't understand.
Exactly.
Right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's like that's the thing. So for Lisa, who's in 2nd grade. Right, like I feel like people forget that she's a 2nd grader. Goes to the slaughterhouse and decides like I'm not going to eat meat anymore. Like I don't agree with this thing. Like of course Homer Simpson is sort of the worst fucking parent. So it makes sense for Homer to be like an idiot about it. Plus he loves meat, right? Like the whole thing works. But for like Sharon's family to be like, we don't support this decision. Where are you going to get protein from? Like it's like, what is happening here?
Well, because we haven't figured this shit out. Like thousands of years ago when we created tofu.
Places to get protein, and then like one of the girls, she's like, "Oh, are you sure you want to go to the barbecue? Isn't that against your beliefs?" And I'm like, she can go to a place where meat is getting cooked. She's just not going to eat it. She's not an insane person.
No, the way that they treat people not understanding vegetarianism is beautiful, actually. It's beautifully stupid.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, and I'm like, but this is sort of like that weird an analog. And then, like, I'm upset because I'm like, is she going to still be a vegetarian after this episode? Because they don't do that thing that most shows do where, like, at the end of the day, everything is reset. Like, she's like, yeah, I think I'm going to be a vegetarian still.
Yeah, there's a bit of a continuing storyline for sure in some of that stuff. Yeah, man,
like Lisa Simpson has been a vegetarian since Lisa the Vegetarian.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's like, it's one of the greatest things. Like, it makes such sense, that episode. And it's, I don't know, it's just one of those things where I'm like, we treated vegetarianism very strange in kids' cartoons.
Yeah, well, you know, part of that is because we just didn't understand a lot of the crap that was going into our bodies, and now that we have kind of a more of an understanding of how we were being treated by like food companies, we now are more willing to listen to somebody that's being like, yeah, I don't want to eat meat, because nowadays people are just like, yeah, we probably shouldn't have been eating all of that pink slime meat, huh?
Jeez. So yeah, so that's it. So be kind to a vegetarian today. Read an Encyclopedia Brown book. If you have Alexa, for the love of God, say please and thank you, because otherwise they'll rise up faster. I'm just being honest.
Mm-hmm.
And until next time, I'm on Twitter at Devin D. Decker.
You can find me at Siege versus the World.
And Will, if you can put down that Encyclopedia Brown book I sent you and finish off the episode, that would be great. Thanks.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your host Devin Decker and Stephen Serwick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.